Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So there are lawsuits flying left and right now. Some you may have heard of, some maybe not because they just happened today. So I'm going to give you guys the details or some details, what I think you should know. Today, 8 out of the 17 fired inspectors general sued Donald Trump's administration for failing to give them proper notice and any kind of explanation prior to their termination. So that is required under the rules of Congress. So the inspectors general, as you all know, this is why this is so just hypocritical of Trump. They are government watchdogs. They oversee agencies to make sure that there is no waste, fraud, and abuse. So, the thing that Donald Trump claims that he's trying to do right now, but yet he's firing the people responsible for making sure that there's no waste, fraud, and abuse. Yeah. So anyway, multiple lawsuits have also been filed against the Trump administration due to Elon Musk and his boy band that are, infiltrating all of these government agencies and accessing Americans' private data. So the first one is the Data Privacy Group, which it's called the Electronic Privacy Information Center, EPIC for short. They were also joined in this lawsuit by an unnamed federal employee. So they filed a 30-page complaint, and it says, quote, "This action arises from the largest and most consequential data breach in U.S. history, currently ongoing at the U.S. Department of the Treasury and U.S. Office of Personnel Management. This unprecedented breach of privacy and security implicates the personal information of tens of millions of people, including nearly all federal employees and millions of members of the American public." Then it also says, quote, "Doge defendants and other Doge operatives have made clear their disregard for legal controls or restraints, and in light of their past willingness to disclose information publicly or use it for other unlawful purposes, their continued access to sensitive information presents a near certainty that they will continue to misuse that information." So what they're referring to there in saying that this information is being exposed publicly, they cited Musk posting some information on Twitter. So this clearly shows government data is being leaked to the public. Obviously, highly illegal, what they're doing, the way they've done all of this. I mean, these are, again, not government employees. This is a fake agency created by Donald Trump to completely usurp the normal process and system, which would be for Congress to get rid of agencies. So anyway, next up, there was another lawsuit filed by 100 federal workers. This was also filed today, and it says that Musk's access to their personal data is illegal, which it is. Also, labor unions filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration on Monday. Their lawsuit is about the accessing of private data through the Education Department and also the Treasury Department and Office of Personnel Management. Their lawsuit says, quote, "Steamrolling into sensitive government record systems has led to a massive data breach that threatens to upend how these critical systems are maintained and compromises the safety and security of personal identifying information for Americans across the country." Unions have also sued the administration regarding the firing of the USAID employees. So that is the USAID department. So a judge has now temporarily blocked Trump because he was going to put 2,700 workers on leave from that department. And then the judge also ordered that they reinstate 500 people who had already been laid off. And this was done by U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols, which If you've been following my January 6 cases, you know he is a Trump appointee. He was pretty lenient in the January 6 cases by and large, but he is smacking them down because I think he clearly sees this is not legal. This is not legitimate the way they're doing it. So in his decision, the judge wrote, quote, "No future lawsuit could undo the physical harm that might result if you said employees are not informed of imminent security threats occurring in the countries to which they have relocated in the course of their service to the United States. Administrative leave in Syria is not the same as administrative leave in Bethesda. Simply being paid cannot change that fact." So for those in other countries, Bethesda is a city in the state of Maryland. So he's pointing out, like, you are literally putting these people's lives at risk with the way that you're doing this. So we'll see what happens with that. The judge has ordered a hearing for tomorrow, Thursday. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. Also, a group of religious entities, churches, have filed lawsuits. So this is about Trump's decision to allow immigration raids in places of worship. The lawsuit represents churches of a bunch of different faiths. So this is not just like the Catholic Church or Christians or Jewish people, what have you. Their lawsuit says, quote, "An immigration enforcement action during worship services, ministry work, or other congregational activities would be devastating to their religious practice. It would shatter the consecrated space of sanctuary, thwart communal worship, and undermine the social service outreach that is central to religious expression and spiritual practice for plaintiffs' congregations and members." And the complaint cited a raid that I hadn't even heard about. Apparently, this took place in Atlanta, Georgia, and ICE agents showed up in the middle of the service and started pounding on the door. And they were demanding that because the doors were locked apparently, they demanded that the congregation hand over this Honduras immigrant whom Joe Biden or the Biden administration had granted asylum to. So they knew he was there only because this guy was compliant with the requirements under asylum law. So he was wearing his ankle monitor, and that's how they tracked him. Completely, totally vile. So we'll see what happens with that suit. Pregnant women are also suing the Trump administration over his birthright citizenship issue, how he's trying to end birthright citizenship. So as you guys probably know, there's 3 judges that have already blocked that. But the matter is definitely going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. So we'll see how that settles out, because that is a matter of constitutional law. Anyway, 7 transgender and non-binary people have also sued the Trump administration based on his executive order, which prohibits Americans from changing their gender on their passports. So when people say, "Oh, well, I don't want men and women's sports, and I don't want children being transitioned." Okay, that may be a more popular view across the political spectrum, but when you are trying to take away the rights of adults who have transitioned, who made that decision for themselves as grown-ass men and women, why can they not change their gender on their passport? So just absolutely ridiculous. And it just takes away the rights argument that, oh, it's about the children. No, it's not about the children. It's about them trying to tell other people how to live their lives and what they can and can't do with their bodies. And yet they're the ones who freaked out during the pandemic over the same exact things. Oh, you're trying to control our bodies. You're trying to take away our free will. What the frick are you people doing? So just shut up about the whole, oh, it's about the children. We're so worried about the children and indoctrination. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're spoiled brats and you're controlling fucks who want to tell other people what they can and can't do. Anyway, in kind of related news, a Ronald Reagan appointed judge blocked Donald Trump's executive order, which would have sent transgender women to men's prisons. And again, regardless of where you fall on this issue, even if you think that this is a mental disorder, which it is not, it has been proven that this is science. There is an issue here with chromosomes in some cases. Anyway, imagine, try to imagine for a minute that maybe you might be wrong. What if you're wrong, right? What if you, as a man, which wouldn't be as big of a deal, you as a man watching were sent to a women's prison? I mean, again, not as big of a deal, but imagine as a woman, if you really, truly are a woman, and you believe yourself to be a woman, you feel like a woman, you look like a woman, you have breasts, right? And you are sent to a male prison, imagine how terrifying that is. And yes, some of these people have already transitioned. Some of them have breast implants. They, on the outside, look like a woman. And then they are put in a prison with all men. Imagine what is going to happen to that person. So, again, this is not about the children. This is about allowing human beings to be themselves and free will. Anyway, on Monday, there was another judge who blocked Trump from capping the National Institutes of Health grants to universities and research organizations. So, that was a matter of funding for sometimes very serious research for, cancer research, for all kinds of drugs that they're hoping to bring to the market, all kinds of other diseases that they're studying. So Trump tried to cap that, as you know, as part of his funding freeze. And so the judge said, no, we got to take a look at this. We got to, be more precise in how we're doing this. Is Trump going to listen? We don't know. Government employees are also suing the government. Gwen Wilcox was a National Labor Relations Board employee. She was fired via email without warning, which totally violates the NLRB Act. Board members can only be fired under their guidelines for, quote, neglect of duty or malfeasance in office, but for no other cause. Those are their guidelines. And they have to be given notice, even if you do find, oh, they've done something wrong, you have to give them notice, and then they are entitled to a hearing. So she is suing. There's a special counsel attorney, which is not like the special counsel that oversaw the Trump investigations. This is different. There's an attorney named Hampton Dellinger. He is suing the Trump administration because he was fired. So his office, what this special counsel office does, they handle federal whistleblower laws and complaints. Also, they handle anything having to do with the Hatch Act, which is when a political person or when a government employee tries to take part in political activities, especially when they're on the taxpayer dime, when they're on government property. So this one is a little bit more dicey. I don't know if he's going to prevail because Dellinger was a political appointee. He was appointed by Donald Trump. So his firing is not as clear, or the legality of his firing, I should say, as it was, with the woman who was fired from the NLRB. Next up, I have news out of California. Governor Gavin Newsom, he signed two different bills, allocating a total combined of those two bills of $50 million. So they were $25 million each. This bill, or these two bills, will protect immigrants who the Trump administration is trying to deport. Also, these bills will cover any kind of legal fees to sue the Trump administration. So the first portion is that they're going to provide funds to nonprofit organizations that are defending immigrants from deportation. The only problem I have with this is California Republican lawmakers, they tried to add an amendment to one of these bills that would bar immigrants who have serious criminal histories from receiving any free legal support under this bill. Democrats refused to vote for that amendment, so the bill was passed without that. Now, Gavin Newsom later added a letter with this bill, and in this letter that he wrote, it said, quote, "None of the funding in this bill is intended to be used for immigration-related services for non-citizens convicted of serious or violent felonies." So he added that in, but why couldn't the Democrats just go along with that amendment, right? This is where they go wrong. This is where they give Republicans a talking point, and it allows the Republicans to make the Democrats look like it's full of extremists. Like Democrats don't have a problem with violent immigrants in our country. Just stop giving them the talking points. I mean, this is a pretty popular opinion, right? This is a very populist view that, yeah, if you have someone in this country who came in, not under the immigration laws, asylum, or asserting asylum or anything like that, okay, that's like a misdemeanor. That's like not as big of a deal. But if you have someone who came into the country not unlawfully, under an unlawful manner, and then on top of that, they are a violent person, they have committed violent crimes, even if it was in their home country, no, across the board, pretty much nobody is going to want those people here. So get with the popular program, Democrats. Anyway, that is it for now. I will keep an eye on new litigation that comes up. I'll let you all know if there's anything on any of these cases. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.